Well, good morning and happy Independence Day. My name is Willie Lawson. This is the Morning Report. The Morning Report is a production of FightbackMedia.com, 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 and FightbackMediaTV.com. Today is Project 2025. It's the perfect day to talk about this. This is Independence Day, and we'll be right on it. All right. I don't even know if a lot of people have heard of Project 2025. I think that if you are, I don't know, hooked to TikTok in some sort of way, you've probably seen people from the left or, Democrats or basically stupid people attaching Project 2025 to Donald Trump. Because everything Republican is attached to Donald Trump, good or bad, right? Project 2025 is a project from the Heritage Foundation. So if you go to if you go to project2025.org, this is what you'll see: building now for a conservative victory through policy, personnel, and training. And I like the idea, and I'll tell you why I like the idea. So often, Republicans, and I'll say it this way: the job of the Republican Party is to get Republican politicians elected. That's their job. And really, the part that is distressing for a lot of people is that's their only job. After getting a candidate elected, the Republican Party doesn't have any more responsibilities. They are actually done. They have done what they set out to do. That's it. So I know a lot of people get frustrated with the Republican Party because once people get elected, there really isn't a plan. The only other plan is to get elected again. There's no plan once you get elected. So what we have learned, and what we should have learned, is winning elections is not enough. You got to have a plan of action once you win the election. On project2025.org, here's where it says on its front page: the actions of liberal politicians in Washington have created a desperate need and a unique opportunity for conservatives to start undoing the damage the left has wrought, and will build a better country for all Americans in 2025. It's not enough for conservatives to win an election. If we are to rescue the country from the grip of the radical left, we need both a governing agenda, and the right people in place ready to carry out this agenda out on day one of the next conservative administration. Now, this all sounds whoopty-doopty, but frankly, the left has been doing this since forever. Democrats and progressives and communists and socialists have been doing this since the beginning. It isn't just winning the elections and seeing where the chips fall. No. It's never that. It's always an agenda. There's always something going on, and it's always putting the people in place. That's why we have these bureaucracies, and putting the people in place in every single level and every single nook and cranny, especially at the federal level. It's the deep state. So, Project 25, the goal of the 2025 Presidential Transition Project, the project will build on 4 pillars that will collectively pave the way for an effective conservative administration: a policy agenda, personnel training, and a 180-day playbook. Now, we often hear the first 100 days, right? The first 100 days of a presidency. What does the president, it sort of says what the president's agenda is. Well, there needs to be a playbook. It doesn't need to be random. It doesn't need to be, there needs to be an organized, systemic way of, if we intend on pulling back from a lot of this progressiveness, it's got to be done, and it's going to be tough. This project is an effort of a broad coalition of conservative organizations that have come together to ensure a successful administration begins in January of 2025 with the right conservative policy recommendations and properly vetted and trained personnel to implement them. And we will take back our government. In 2025, Presidential Transition Project is being organized by the Heritage Foundation and builds off the Heritage's long-standing mandate for leadership, which has been highly influential for presidential administrations since the Reagan era. Most recently, the Trump administration heavily relied on Heritage's mandate, the book, Mandate for Leadership, for policy guidance, embracing nearly two-thirds of the Heritage's proposals within just 1 year in office. Now, so if any of us remember, are you old enough to remember living in the Trump presidency? Did you know that a lot of the things that were talked about, the plan, was taken from Mandate for Leadership, from the Heritage Foundation? Did you know that? People on the left do. They know where it came from. Which is why they are barking so loud against Project 2025 and just lying about it. Just lying about it. So that's the deal. Paul Dance, former chief of staff of the Office of Personnel Management during the Trump administration, serves as director for the 2025 Presidential Transition Project. Spencer Creechan, former special assistant to the president and associate director of presidential personnel, serves as an associate director of the project. You can go to project25.org and you can get updates. You can contact them. This is how I want to be able to help. Let's see, I'm going to do this right now. You can't see it, but trust me, I'm doing it. Like to help. Okay, almost done. Almost. All right, submit. Because I think it's very, very important that we understand that this is policy based to start with, and this came from the Mandate for Leadership, which is called a conservative promise. Because this book, the Mandate for Leadership, is a product of more than 400 scholars and policy experts from across the conservative movement and across the country. Contributors include former elected officials, well-renowned economists, and veterans from 4 presidential administrations. This is an agenda prepared by and for conservatives who will be ready on day 1 of the next administration to save our country. The Heritage Foundation is once again facilitating this work, but as are dozens of partners and hundreds of authors will attest, this book is the work of the entire conservative movement. The next conservative president will enter office on January 20th, 2025, with a simple choice: greatness or failure. It will be a daunting task, but no more than every other generation in America has faced and passed. The conservative promise represents the best efforts of conservative movement in 2023 and the next conservative president's last opportunity to save our republic. I don't know if it's the last opportunity, but we're getting close. Okay, now next week we're gonna break this down. We're gonna go through the table of contents of the Mandate for Leadership and how it relates to Project 2025. Please do this. Go to project2025.org/policy, and then you can get ahead of me. You can get ahead of the class. I'm going to try to get someone from Heritage. I'm just such a small fish in a huge ocean, and I'm like a guppy in the Atlantic Ocean. But I'm going to try to get somebody to come on and spend 5 or 10 minutes with us to have people understand what Project 2025 is about and to get behind it. and be able to explain it, and to be able to when somebody on the left says something crazy about 2025, you can say, nah, nah. If they want to know what the Trump campaign agenda is, they need to go to Trump's website. Part of 2025 is something completely different. Completely different. Now, I did say last time Trump used 2/3 of the recommendations and mandate for leadership. And again, do you remember what it was like living in a Trump presidency? Especially early. Have you put gas in your car? You bought food this week? Did you buy food for today? Yeah, it was pretty good. Just pretty good. All right, we got to get out of here and make room for somebody else. So until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. Happy Independence Day to you, and we'll see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.